having that hour with the press. We're on with that hour with the press, and I'd like us to begin with what happened in Marwa, the university games. It's another moment when university students were brought together, and these games ended. We're not so much interested in the results, but the principle under which the games were convened, and it's quite some time now. So what would you, this idea of bringing university students together, that sounds more like the same idea of bringing them to be able to build the bonds of friendship, at least at the level of their age groups. Prof, I'd like to take that first.
Yeah, I think it's a very important initiative by government and the Ministry of, the ministry is concerned that young people come together, to interact amongst themselves, play among themselves, and especially when the games go from one university to another, it makes for students to move around and see the various facets of the country. I think it is important these young people come together, and if the ambience during these games could be replicated in the day-to-day running of state affairs, where the best comes out victorious, gets to the position that they desire and that they deserve. I think it would have made for some sort of, I think what I'm trying to say is it is an example to be emulated by all the facets of public life. Yes,
apart from last year when the University of Douala got the first prize in terms of the medal tally, the Higher Institute of Youth and Sports has always been in the first position since they came into the games. And there are people who say that INJS won't have been brought into that competition because they are specialized on sports, and that's always this feeling that they will always win if everything was fair.
No, I think that in 21 editions they have always dominated, but their presence to me is just normal. It ups the game, no doubt. But the other universities, I think that they are really giving in their best. Apart from universities like Buya, sometimes that you have the impression that sports is not...
it's almost the same thing with the University of Bamenda.
Yes, so I think that the university, we cannot put them aside. It is true that they spend all their time doing mostly sports, but the other universities, if you look at the results,
I must congratulate.
They have 15 gold medals, then the second comes with 11, the other comes with 9. That's an indication that they are not really lording it over the others as one will expect.
All the same, but when you look at my first question, Prince, government has multiplied the meetings of youths in the country, and you see at the level of primary school you have the Osuk games, at the level of secondary school, Osuk B, you have, and so on and so forth. How would you, as a political or a participant in the political life of the country, how would you look at government's idea of bringing youth at their different age groups to mix, if I might use that term?
Well, thank you once again, Joe. One of the things I want us to understand is that drawing from the inspiration of Professor Zengwa, the initiative is not bad, but the procedure and the outcome of these interactions is what continues to baffle most Cameroonians. Because there is a lot of interactions, there's a lot of programs being organized by government to be able to carry out a particular initiative. But when we come to the results, especially with regards to social building, nation building, you realize that
peace building bonds.
Yes, we realize that the country which we have always known to be a peaceful country is not the case now. And I begin to ask the question that why do we try to overemphasize on activities, the organization of activities, whereas there are concrete actions that could be done in order to build the present and the future of this country, which are the youths. And given the fact that most of like the current crisis, even the crisis, generally when you see those who are very active in the society are the youths, in the military as well as in civil society are the youths. But now how come that these youths have become confrontational or become radical? Those are the questions that we must be able to ask ourselves.
Okay. Now, but you must acknowledge the fact that those peace-building bonds are ongoing.
Yeah, I not dispute the fact, but the implementation of the peace bond seems to be a problem for those who are stakeholders.
Oh, the target groups.
Exactly.
Okay, but these target groups, it's not, it doesn't cut across. He is referring to the Northwest and Southwest, which, you know, it started from the trade union demands and spilled over into what we have today. But would you say government is succeeding in trying to help the youths of the country to build bonds amongst themselves?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, Joe. I would like to say that sports in this country is one of the factors of nationalism and, of course, national integration. The impression I have is, what I'm thinking about and what I feel is most important is the representative character of the games. The games, the university games are all inclusive, bringing together different higher institutes of learning, both in the public and private sector. And I think that is quite a national ritual academic forum that gives the opportunity for young Cameroonians, of course, and students to meet each other, to integrate each other, to discover new places, and of course, to feel Cameroonian wherever they are. So definitely.
So that someday when you are transferred to the Far North, for example, you don't say, but
you are surprised to be there. Of course,
I was somebody who was transferred from the Far North to Ebolova. I said, but I have not seen the sun and so on and so forth.
So definitely, I think that these are issues that we have to encourage, and we should sometimes think of, you know, dissociating sports from politics. Even if it can sometimes serve as a political instrument to boost our national integration and unity, but I think that we should keep up with it. I quite remember last year the games were held, I think it's in Bamenda, University of Bamenda, in the midst of what we know, but everything went on pretty well, and from a kind of vox pop, as we call it, you know, people were very happy about participating. I quite remember I was there, and of course I discovered the joy in the midst of students who took part in the game. That's what I have to say.
Yes, you wanted.
One important component is that the students who are involved in the games, it is not important where they come from. So a student from Marua can be schooling in Bamenda and will be representing the University of Bamenda in the games, not representing where he comes from. Exactly. I think this is a very important component of that. So you realize that students do not necessarily represent their ethnic cleavages or their regions of origins, but their institutions, and they cut across all these institutions.
Okay.
I think that's an important component.
Okay, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that sometimes we miss good opportunities like this to capitalize on this whole idea of maybe coming together and living together, because the university games, you remember that it is not only in Cameroon that we have university games or school games. You have them in the United States of America, in Nigeria, everywhere. And the main reason for organizing these games sometimes is because they want to use it as a breeding ground for talents, especially in countries like the USA. Most of their stars, they absolutely pass through the university and they call them the college games. But like I said, since we want to maybe always attach everything to the living together and the vivre ensemble, that's why maybe we probably are insisting on the fact that that is why the university games.
No, that is just coming up now. It's a slogan that's just coming up now.
That's exactly what I want to say.
We'll be coming to it shortly.
Okay, yes.
But I would like you wanted to say something in relation to the game.
A little bit from what Dr. just said, you know, we cannot deassociate politics from general life in the nation. You know, if you say you disassociate politics from the university games or sports, then it means that the country ceases from functioning properly. You know, what is politics? Politics is the art of management. And when you talk about management, you're managing human beings. And these human beings have certain priorities. And those priorities are manifested through certain activities, like the sports and all of that. So if we deassociate sports from politics, it means that we will cease from making the society to become very, very functional and to give people that ability to be able to move their emotions or move their talents into realizing their dreams. Okay. So we cannot deassociate politics from sports.
Okay, that's the politician speaking.